Let's get ready to water bath can some tomatoes. First step of canning tomatoes, have good tomatoes. If your tomatoes look anything like mine, you might need to go to the store. And here's the other thing, don't just go to Walmart. Find yourself a local produce store where farmers bring their fruit and vegetables in, and you'll have some real good quality stuff. Let's go. First thing I want to get started with is coring my tomatoes. So that's literally just cutting the center out. And don't throw this away, we got something special for this. You can toss it right in your compost bin. So what we're going to do is we're going to dip it into a boiling hot thing of water for about 60 seconds, and then you're going to transfer it to your ice bath. If you have a spoon like this, it's probably going to work good for setting it in and taking it out. So I'm just going to continue coring these. Drop them right in. Also make sure to drop an ice cube on the floor for your cat. Okay, so there's some in here that you can even start to see that the peels are starting to come off of them naturally. That's perfect. It's going to make it a lot easier for you. So maybe wait till they start doing that. Okay, so we're going to take this one and transfer it to the ice bath. I'm going to try to dump out some of the hot water. Transferring to the ice bath. And then look how easy that peel comes off. Don't forget, all these scraps can go in your bucket for your compost. Okay, I'm gonna just finish up the rest of these and I'll be right back. Okay, my other tip is not to throw this down the, like, obviously don't do it while it's hot if you're gonna do it. Instead of putting it down the drain, go water your plants with it, or you could save it for the compost that we're gonna be doing later. Okay, the next step is figuring out how you want your tomatoes to be prepared. So for me personally, I wanna do like slices. So I'm gonna quarter them. And then I'm going to just cut them in a bunch of little slices like this. And then the next step after that is we're going to put them in a big jar. Like, find a big container, preferably clear, that you can put them in. Also, don't throw away your ice bath water. Mix it in with your water that you boiled the tomatoes in. And you can take this out to your garden. Alright, now that we have our big jar of tomatoes, we're going to let it sit for a little while. In the meantime, we're going to get some other things prepped. But this gives it time to release the natural liquids that are in it so that we can fit more tomatoes in our jars. Okay, so I've got about 10 jars here. I had about 10 tomatoes. I feel like I might use like 8 or 9. I guess we'll see how many fit in there. But you want to start with inspecting them and making sure that there's no cracks or like just any imperfections that would make them break open. And also make sure that the lids are good. I have an example of one that is not so great that I probably will not use. Actually, I'm not going to use it. But so this lid has like a little dent in it. Just get rid of it. Like, you don't have to completely get rid of it, but it can't be used for canning. So you can even see it on this side of it. Personally, I'm just gonna throw it in my drink cupboard because I like to make drinks in my mason jars and I'll shake them up. And so this doesn't really affect anything with it being a dent, but you don't want to use it for canning. Okay, upon inspecting my jars, I did find one that was not good. So it's really hard to see, but there's a little chip in this one. So this one's gonna be going in my cupboard for coffee. Okay, after you've inspected your jars and your lids, now it's time to wash them. So make sure that you wash these with soap really well and set them aside, and we'll be taking them outside by the water bath canner. Okay, so you got all your water bath canning stuff. And you might be thinking, how the heck do I even put this together? Okay, so I got this really nice water bath canner from Ball, and I got this a few years ago. Absolutely love this thing. So here's the base, and then all you do is take this little cord, plug it right in the back of it. Today, I have an extension cord that I'm going to be plugging it into. I want to do this outside because it creates a lot of heat, and since it's summer, I don't want my house getting hotter than it has to be. Okay, so then I have this completely filled with water. So I've got it to about right here, because when you put the jars in, it's going to get even higher. So then we're going to lift it on here. I'm going to put it more towards high. We don't want it super boiling. We just want it to keep the jars nice and hot. So you can just like literally take your jars, tip them a little bit, and put them inside the water. And you don't have to worry about this being hot right now, because I put cold water in. Because if you put hot or warm water in, you're getting water from your water heater. And you want it straight from the ground. If you'd like to, you can put the lid on. I'm actually going to put this on too. This keeps the jars from rattling around all crazy. But since we're outside, I don't want some crab apples falling inside of this. So we're going to put the lid on, and we're going to let it warm up. It'll probably take maybe a half an hour. While we're waiting on our water bath, let's go say hi to the pigeons. So this is their enclosure. I have trees hung up here for them, and I have hay on the ground so it's easier to pick up their poo. This is Rosie. Rosie, say hi. That's Rosie. This is Eugene. That's Rosie. Hi. How are you today? It's okay. Alright, are you finally ready? Okay, so I've got the tomatoes here, and if you can see, I'll bring them close. If you can see, the water level is like up to here because we waited for them to excrete their own juices, and so we shouldn't have to add any water because of this. So first thing you want to do is get your table in order of prepping. So I'm probably going to set my paper towel and vinegar over here. You may as well just take a piece right now, fold it up a little bit, and spray your vinegar on it. Get it real nice and damp. Set it over there. And then, so obviously you need your tomatoes. Since we're water bath canning, we'll be using some lemon juice and some canning salt. You're gonna need one of these things. They grab the jars out of the water. You really can't do it without one of these. You can literally get them at Walmart for probably $5 or less. And then it's not completely necessary, but a funnel, honestly, like, it's so helpful that I would say it is necessary. So get yourself one of these because it makes it a lot easier to not spill and whatnot. And then the next thing you should probably have is like a muddler. You can use like the back of a wooden spoon. I just find that if you have a muddler, you may as well use it. And then obviously all of your washed lids and rings. When we take the jars out, we're going to set them on the towel. The other thing is you're going to need a teaspoon, and that's going to be put in each jar for the lemon juice. And then 1/4 of a teaspoon for the canning salt in each one. Okay, are you ready? Be careful not to burn yourself, obviously. I'm just going to adjust this a little bit. You can go ahead and take this lid off, let it drip a little bit. We're going to very carefully set this down so that it doesn't roll and break. So then, first thing you do is you take your little grabby thing and you take a jar out, make sure you got it underneath the lip. You're gonna pour it out. And we're gonna do this one by one so that they stay nice and hot. Make sure do not let it run down the handle onto your hand. You might see that happen. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, and then you're gonna set it on the towel because if there's any sort of temperature difference, it could break the glass. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and we'll put the funnel in right away just to keep everything nice and neat. And then we'll take a teaspoon of lemon juice, put it in there. We'll take a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then now you can start packing your jar. So I'm using a slotted spoon because it'll make sure that we don't get juices that we don't want inside of it. When we want to put juices inside of it, then I'll just like tip the jar. But for now, since we are trying to pack as many in here as we can, we're just gonna try not to get the juices in there. And you can kind of work simultaneously with your muddler, pushing them down, keeping it really nice and packed. And you'll see that you're gonna get natural juices in there, where we probably won't even have to add any. Okay, so we're gonna check it. Remember not to touch the glass, it's hot. We're gonna leave a 1/2 inch of headspace. We could add a little bit of juice to it just to kind of fill it out. So we're just trying to get a little bit. There we go. Okay, and then basically you just want to make sure that the air bubbles are all gone. Okay, and then before we put the lid on, we want to go ahead and wipe it with our vinegar paper towel. So wipe the rim with it because this ensures that there's nothing on the rim so that we can get a good seal. So then we'll take our lid, making sure that there's nothing on it, place it on there, and then we can go ahead and take our ring, and we're gonna just nicely put that on, fingertip tight, all right? So we're gonna go do that. I got it fingertip tight, which is not very tight, and then we're gonna grab back onto it and put it back into the water. Okay, so I'm gonna work on finishing these up, but once you get them all in the canner, you're gonna put your little thing on top of all of the cans, put your lid on, and then we're gonna do this for 1 hour. Okay, it's been an hour, and now we can take our cans out of the water bath. So we'll go ahead and take the lid off. My muddler. I use my muddler to just pick up this grate that goes on top of them very, very carefully because it's very hot water. Closer, you can see that I didn't really have, I had 3 cans left over that I didn't have anything for. So I just decided to put water in them. So when we lift these out of the water now, it stopped boiling. We just want to kind of like turn it a little tiny bit to get that, to get the extra water off the top. And I'm going to go ahead and set them in a thing right here, like a cardboard box, just so that I can haul them in the house without disturbing them too much. You don't want to tip it too much. You can always come back and like soak up the water with a paper towel on the top if you want to, but if you tip it too much, it's possible that the insides could start leaking out, which is no bueno, as my dad would say. So just do like a little tiny tip, and you'll just have to be okay with that and soak it up with some paper towel because we don't want to tip it too much. So we'll just take the rest of these out of here. And as you can see, I tried to be so careful with how much water I was like getting out of the tomatoes. There's still quite a bit of tomato juice in there, even after the precautions that I took. And sometimes it will even like have more, but this is likely what water is in it. But that's why we did that process of letting the tomatoes soak and start excreting their juices from them, so we don't have an excess of water and hardly any tomatoes. Okay, so once you got these out here, you wanna, especially if you're doing it outside and you're gonna have to move them at some point before 24 hours, you wanna keep them in like a container like this. When you know that they sealed is when you can hear their little clicks. So it's just gonna sound like this. and you're just gonna hear one by one. And I'm not gonna touch them now, but you'll be able to tell if it's sealed or not by putting your finger onto, oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that? You'll be able to tell if it's sealed or not. Don't do this for 24 hours. But if you put your finger on the middle and it goes up and down, there's another one, and it makes a clicking sound or just like moves in the middle, you know it did not seal properly and that it probably isn't going to turn out. So that one was a dud. After they're completely cooled and sealed, then you can carefully take the rings off and store them that way. And you actually want to take the rings off because it helps you know if the thing that you canned went bad or not easier, because it's not forcing the lid to stay on. So all this hard work, I think it's time we learn how to make a pumpkin cream iced chai. Ingredients you're going to need are Oregon chai. I've tried a lot of different brands. Tazo, not really my taste. If you like a more spicy one, then you might like it. But this one is more mellow and sweet for those of you who like a sweeter chai. I use oat milk because I try to lessen my dairy as much as possible because my body doesn't react well to it. I do have heavy cream, unfortunately, for my body, but like I said, we're lessening it, not getting completely rid of it. I just haven't found anything that really replaces the taste or like texture of what I'm trying to do. I've got some pumpkin butter and maple syrup. We're going to take our Tazo tea and we're going to shake it up a little bit because there's lots of spices and stuff, like, and probably sugar at the bottom. We're going to take 3/4 cup plus a tiny little bit, so I'd say 3/4 plus 1/8. Okay, and then what I like to do before pouring my oat milk, I shake it up. I always do this before any drink because it just aerates it very nicely. So we're going to put in 1/2 cup of the oat milk or whatever milk of your choice. And butter. I just got mine at a local place next to me. So sorry, you probably can't find this brand. It's in Wisconsin, I'm sure. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe not. Oh, it's in Ohio. Walnut Creek Foods. I really like this one. So there you go. So we're gonna take a big scoop of this pumpkin butter and put it right in this other mason jar, and then we're going to take 3 tablespoons of heavy cream, and then we're going to take 2 tablespoons of milk. I don't really know how much maple syrup I'm going to pour in, so I'll pour it into this and we'll kind of see together how much I do. Okay, I'm running low, but it ended up to be about a tablespoon. Okay, so then you put your lid on, really good. And yeah, I'm using an old mason jar. I haven't even taken the label off, sue me. Okay, then we're gonna shake this really, really good until it becomes more thick and foamy, because this is our cold foam. So that's pretty good. I mean, 30 seconds or so, I'd say. Then you'll take the lid off and dump it right into your drink. And voila, you've made yourself a pumpkin chai cold foam drink. Okay, actually, what is this thing called? Pumpkin cream chai or something. And boy, is it good. Probably not good for you. No, I know it's not good for you, but it's really good. You'll never want to buy bread from the store after making this, and especially after how easy it is. All right, time to make some bread. So what you're gonna need is a big bowl. I use this like, I just washed it. I don't even know what kind it is, but it says, oh, it's Pyrex. I love this bowl. Okay, anyways, it's like my favorite bowl ever. I didn't know it was Pyrex. And then we're gonna need 1.5 cups of warm water, not hot, not cold, warm. And then you'll need a packet of active dry yeast. your favorite salt. I use this one that has a blend of garlic, rosemary, lemon, maybe some other things. It's really good. And then also your bread flour. That's it. First thing we want to do is we want to take our dry yeast and we're going to just cut it open over the bowl and pour that in. Okay, then you're going to take your 1.5 cups of warm water, pour it in the bowl with the yeast. Okay, and then I actually forgot about this step. You can use sugar, you can use honey, which is actually what I'm going to use, is some fresh, beautiful honey from a local farm. With honey, you don't want to use a metal spoon. You always want to use like a silicone spoon or like a wooden thing or whatever. So we're just going to take like a scoop of this and mix it around with the yeast. We're going to let that sit for 10 minutes. I'll show you what it looks like when it's ready. Okay, our yeast is ready and it's supposed to look like kind of foamy on top. Alright, next step is we're going to take a strainer, one of these little metal kinds, and we're going to add 3 cups of flour to the strainer. If you have a sifter, go ahead and use a sifter, but this is kind of using a makeshift sifter. Okay, and then all you do is you just sit here and tap the side of it, and as you can see, the flour is sifted underneath it. Okay, and then you're going to take your favorite salt and add 2 teaspoons. Make sure it says teaspoon of salt in there. Pause. Okay, now that we got all of our ingredients added, we're going to go ahead and mix them all up. And at first it might seem like it's not doing anything, but it should get real nice and sticky. So we would rather have it a little bit sticky than dry. So we're going to get this mixed up real good and we'll be back when it's finished. Okay, and if it's like a little bit dry like this, you can zoom in so you can see. You can go ahead and add some more water. Just do like little by little until it becomes more of a wet dough. Okay, so I've added some more water, and as you can see here, this is kind of the texture that we want. It kind of grabs everything on the side of the bowl, and it's pretty sticky. Okay, so this is where you can take your saran wrap, or if you have one of those cute little fabric covers for your bowls, you can cover this, and then just set it in a warm place. I'm just going to leave it on my stove here. And you leave that for about 3 hours. You'll see it'll like double inside. Alright, so our bread is just about ready. So it's very nice and wiggly. See that? Jiggle, jiggle. And it smells like beer. Yeah, the yeast. And then, so now what we need to do is we need to take a nice Dutch oven. I got this one at Walmart. I like it a lot. And we're going to turn our oven to 425. We're going to hit start, and we're going to put this in the oven with nothing in the Dutch oven. So in the meantime, we're going to get our bread ready. So I like these little cookie mats to work on, so we can literally just lay this right next to the stove or wherever. This is just the best place where you can watch me. Then we're going to need some more bread flour. I want to take some of this bread flour and sprinkle it all over whatever surface you're working on. And this is going to prevent the dough from sticking. So, shout out to my friend Erica, because this is my friend Erica's recipe and it's worked perfectly every single time for me. So thanks, Erica. Okay. So then we're going to take our saran wrap off, or whatever cover. And we're going to take just our spatula edge here and just kind of start like scooping up the flour underneath it, because our goal is to kind of like coat the outside so that it's not sticky anymore. because then it'll be easier for us to work with. You can also use one of the little scrapers. I think I have one. I don't know where it is anymore, but there's like these scraper things that you can use that work like really well, but I'm not really having an issue with this right now, so I'm just going to keep doing it how I'm doing it. And I'm going to do a little bit of flour sprinkled on top, kind of, just like this. If you want to coat your hands in it, it helps with the stickiness. Okay, so then it's pretty good right now. So what you want to do is you kind of want to fold, turn, fold it, turn, fold it, turn, and then at some point, usually about now I'll do it, is I take this fold and then I'll kind of roll it, and then I'll pick it up and scoot its like butt under, and you kind of do like a, I don't know how to explain this, but you kind of like tuck the edges under. And you can kind of like pull it towards you, like pick it up and pull it towards you. That helps tuck them. Next part is kind of important. So if you don't have like a bread scoring tool, that's totally fine. I don't either. You can either use like a straight up razor blade in your hands, or you can just use a knife, and you can just kind of like pull in short strokes, and you're cutting the tension so that when the bread starts baking, it's going to grow a little bit more, and it has room to grow because we're making these little scores. Some people like to do them in little fun like designs and whatnot. If I had a special tool for it, I might start doing the little cute designs, but right now I don't. Okay, next thing we're going to need is some parchment paper, and I like this unbleached stuff. I don't know about regular parchment paper, but they only want you to go up to 425 with this, so I just cook it a little bit longer than Erica's recipe like said. So, but I keep an eye on it so that I kind of know when I like it. So then what we're going to do is we're going to very gently transfer this over. Honestly, I should have did that before I scored it, so keep that in mind. Alright, the oven just dinged. We're ready to put our bread in the oven. You're going to want to grab yourself 2 oven mitts, something to set it on, and then also something to set the lid on. You're going to carefully lift your bread into your Dutch oven. Usually what I like to do is I try to hold like 2 edges with each hand. And then you just bring it over here and plop her in. And we're going to set our timer for 25 minutes. Highly recommend a manual timer. They're just so easy. I literally love them. Now we get to take our bread out and check and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like about right now. And as you can see, the edges are starting to get a little bit crispy. So now we got to put it in without the lid for about 15-20 minutes. Set the... Be really careful. I can't see anything. Alright, that looks beautiful. Perfectly crispy. Nice golden brown. A little bit crispier edges. Then what I like to do is I like to take a cookie rack. We'll just set this here for now. And then you're going to want something to grab the bread out of here because it's really hot and you don't want to touch it. So we can just kind of use this to lift the edge up a little bit. And hopefully you can find something to give you a good grip. And I'm just going to set this on top of here. We'll scoot this back out of the way a little bit so nobody touches it. Okay. So you're not going to want to cut into the bread for at least 30-40 minutes because the insides of it are still like cooking. But after that, I'll show you how to make my favorite bruschetta. I don't really know if that's how you say it, but that's how I was told to say it. Alright guys. Okay, I want to talk about calligraphy. So, if you can't tell, I'm very inspired by Meghan Markle and somewhat Martha Stewart, but like more so Meghan Markle. Anyways, there's a lot of hate for her, but I think she's really cool, and I absolutely love her handwriting. And so I decided to get myself a calligraphy book and learn how to write calligraphy, and actually it's not that bad, and I have like terrible handwriting, and I can actually do this. So in this book I got, it's called Classic Calligraphy for Beginners. Let's see, I got it at Hobby Lobby. It says visit quarto.com. I don't know, I paid $15 for it. Either way, look through the book before you buy it, whatever one you get, to see if you like the style of writing, because there's multiple different types of writing, and I did not like every single one of them, and this was the only book that had the style that I was going for. So what it is, the one that I personally like and have been practicing, is called copperplate script. So it has lots of like swirls and stuff like that, but it's really just like super interesting to see like how you're supposed to form letters and stuff, and like between like lifting the pen and whatnot, and you don't even have to like lift it like a lot, like just like enough to start your next stroke. But I don't know, I just think that it's kind of an art, and it takes a lot of practice to be able to get your handwriting to look good. And I think that you know, this is really fun, and I found it to be like super relaxing while making my handwriting look a lot better and actually legible at the same time. So I was just gonna write out a few things and show you guys my book, and I just think it's like super cool. Maybe I could just go through like how to write each letter. I think that that would be good, and then I can touch on this topic like sometime else if somebody wants to comment like a question or something. Like, I feel like I've been learning a lot, and I might be able to help some people because I had very bad boy handwriting. These are going to be fun little episodes that I teach things that I think are fun to know, and that I've also learned that I think that, you know, help like make a house a home. So, and I just like making things. So instead of like rewriting the alphabet like that, my favorite way to practice is to actually like write out my recipes, and like, okay, this isn't a recipe, but like this is like a compost thing. Well, I find all these recipes that I love, and then I practice them by writing them down on paper, and it really helps you like get a real world like experience about how the letters actually work together, not just like writing them separately. So I suggest if you want to get into calligraphy, like actually practice writing words and sentences, and don't like continually look at the other thing, like have it in your head and focus on what you're writing. So that's my tip for calligraphy for the day. Want to go learn how to compost? Get on. Okay, so perfect use of trees or big branches that are falling down. We're going to make like a little fence so that we can keep our compost in. So if you don't have a fence, like a wire fence, you can basically make one with big, thick branches. Be careful, maybe use some gloves, but this one, oh yeah, this is a good one if we can get this over there at least. This is a saw. You press this button to use it. All you do is press it very firmly against your piece of wood. Now we're looking to get about 5 to 6 foot pieces. So I'm about 6 foot. So I just am imagining me laying on the ground next to this, and then I'm gonna cut, and we're gonna use that to build our outside fence of the compost. So, yeah. Boy, you really get a brain rattle with this. Be careful, you know, actually, maybe I recommend using goggles, like just so, you know, if you want to take precautions, wear goggles, wear pants, wear boots. Alright, well I was gonna do it, but he insisted that he was gonna carry all these for me because the four-wheeler just, I think it was getting a little too hot for me driving around. Okay, so we got all these sticks. Well, actually they're more like tree branches, because instead of using a fence, we're gonna try to make one with this. Never done this before, so we'll see how it goes. But I decided that this spot was not viewable from the road, yet it was like, I felt like it's just like the perfect little spot for this. So we're gonna start building right here, and let's see. We'll take this one. This will be the backbone. We'll put it right here, so that way, if I really want to mow around it, I still have room. Actually, if I put it about right there, I can still get around it with more and more. And then we'll just kind of stack it like that. It might be helpful to have some like twine. I don't know where mine is right now. I was thinking we could do maybe something like this. You know, just kind of like a log cabin style. I don't really know how to do it, to be honest. I'm just kind of making it work. This one's kind of curved. This one could be used in the back too. Might have to turn that. Okay, well, this is good enough for now. We at least have our outline of where it's going to be. Now it's time to go get some leaves, sticks, what they consider the brown material. All right, let's go. Okay, first up is your brown material. So that's going to include things like sticks, leaves, cardboard, I think like paper towels and like stuff like that you can use. It was recommended that you use like your sticks and branches at the bottom to keep like it airflow. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start like laying out all the branches at the bottom, and we'll go from there. It's preferred that you don't wear a dress doing all the things that I'm doing, but guess what? I did it, didn't I? You probably want to grab a shovel because your grass clippings, okay, you can have grass clippings, you can have a bunch of things. I'm going to list them on the screen because honestly I don't remember right now, but this is where like your stuff from your house comes in too. So we're going to layer some of the green material on top of the brown material, and then cover it with some more brown material. Another thing about not making your pile too big is you can get around it on all the sides and still be able to reach the middle, so that you don't feel like you have to stand there and reach all the way to the back. Now it's time to add more brown material, which is again the first layer of stuff that we put on. Okay, so my next little clip is going to have an order of like how you should do things and do's and don'ts of composting. So make sure you read that because it's important.
Remember when Charlie said to save all that water? Well, we're using it now.
We just want to sprinkle it all over various spots of this so that it's moist. Get ready to impress your guests with this easy and really delicious snack. Oh, that's the on button. Oops. Okay. As you can see, we're still on the same day. Don't worry, I spent all day with you. I just had to take a shower. Anyways, we're gonna make some bruschetta. So first step is we want to get our bread prepared. So this beautiful loaf of bread that we cooked earlier, we're gonna cut into that now. And before we do that though, I'm going to tell you the rest of the ingredients so you can get them ready. I have a tomato here. That's a half a tomato because I used the other half yesterday. And then I also got a little sandwich bag. And this is a mixture. I can put in the comments how to do it. But all you do is whip up some ricotta and goat cheese together. You can use all goat cheese, you can use all ricotta. It's kind of just your preference. If you do ricotta, you might want to add like some spices in it, like if you want to, or herbs. If you want to add some like oregano or like basil or something, just to like give it, or even some garlic too. And whip it up really, really good so it's super smooth. Then we're going to need some oil. I use avocado oil because it sets with my stomach the best. You can use olive oil, whatever works for you. And then, I think the last thing, oh no, not the last thing. You want to take a balsamic glaze because we'll drizzle this on top at the end and it's really good. You don't want to miss it. And I'm just remembering another ingredient is some salt. You're going to want some salt and some basil fresh picked out of your garden. Okay, so I got the oven preheating to 400 and we're going to cut some slices of bread. So you want to use a bread knife. Don't even try to use anything else. Trust me. Here's the first little slice. I'm probably not going to use that end one. I might use it. But the goal is not too thin, not too thick. So however that works for you. Okay, this is a good size. You could do a little bit thicker than this. It's a little thin, but this works good. So just since it's me and my husband, we're just going to be doing this much. So we got about 4 pieces here, varying in size. And then you'll want to take like a small pan, like, well, depending on how many I guess you have, you'll take a pan, put a piece of parchment paper in it, and you'll want to, well, let's see, we'll put them all in the pan first. I might need a bigger one. We're gonna make that work. Okay. And then all you do is you drizzle, well, I like to do the spray thing, but you just spray olive oil on top of them. And then, it's not preheated yet, but honestly I don't care, I'm gonna just start cooking them. And we'll just kind of wait till the tops of them get like nice and crispy, golden, so probably about like 10 minutes. But I just put goat cheese in this little bag here, just spooned it in there, and then we're gonna get a scissors and cut the end off that, but I'm gonna wait until the bread is done in the oven. In the meantime, we can cut up our basil. So I just like to stack them on top of each other and then roll them up. And then take your bread knife, it works good for this, and just kind of cut slices. So we're just aiming for like long pieces of basil. But you know, you can do it however you want really. And then we have to cut our tomato. So also the bread knife works really great for this too because of the serrated edges. For this, I don't mind a little bit of a thicker slice because it's going to be covered with so many things. Like if you don't like straight up tomatoes taste, I think you'd still like this. So we're just going to cut the rest of it because we do have four pieces that we're going to try to cover with this. And then I prefer to do them like in halves. So we'll kind of cut the halves aside. Okay, this is what we're working with so far. Alright, I looked in the oven and I think it's time to take out the bread. So it's just like barely toasted, and the whole goal really is to get it so it's not flimsy. So that's pretty good. So we'll just do one at a time here to show you. So you take your bread, you take your sandwich bag with the hole in it now, remember. You can use a piping bag if you really want to, but, and then so you kind of just squeeze this out. Do it this way. And this just makes it look cuter, I think. And we'll put the tomato on it. And then we'll sprinkle it with salt. And then you put a few pieces of your basil on. And then you take your balsamic glaze and you just drizzle it. And that's your bruschetta, however you say it.
Thank you, darling.
Go on.
On this side?
You're too tall. Okay, this way. Okay. Okay, hold on. Dear Lord Jesus, please bless this food. Nourish our bodies. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good as always. Thanks for watching this week's The 5 Acre Life with Charlie. Stay tuned for next week. I got some fun things planned.